stuck in a cage with my doubt. I've tried forever getting out on my own. Every time I do this my way, I get caught in the lies of the enemy. I lay my troubles down, I'm ready for you now. Bring me out, come and find me in the dark now. Every day by myself I'm breaking down. I don't wanna fight alone anymore. Bring me out, from the prison of my own pride. My God, I need a hope I can't deny. In the end I'm realizing I was never meant to fight on my own.
Alright, boys and girls, it's your boy King Natsuki here, back at it again with another bangin' What If. And today, well, last night I was in the shower and I got an idea. Tell me if you guys get ideas at random points in time like that, okay? Just tell me. Last night I got an idea in the shower, and I was thinking, what if Deku was the devil's son? Yes. That's all I thought. Yes. That's all I thought. And so, I'm making this part 1 right here, right now. Just for background information, this is pretty much, now, this is ultimate form of Deku, as pretty much, you know, this does take place in the My Hero Academia dimension, or universe, but, well, allow me to explain. You see, there are, basically, as we all know, the Omni King rules over the Omniverse, the whole multiverse, every single universe is in his rule. So, therefore, it's still in the, as in, basically, Deku is, how can I explain this? He is not related to the Omni King in any way, shape, or form, but he is pretty much the only equal to the Omni King in all of existence that is not a version of the Omni King. This is Deku's true form, when he isn't hiding it. As you know how the Omni King has like a childish personality, like a baby, but is also very destructive and uncontrollable. Well, Deku has a very mature personality, but he has, basically he's the opposite of the Omni King. He has a mature personality, and he has a bit of a kindness to him. As pretty much, yeah. Now we begin. And Deku, pretty much, he has the power of, well, he has a power level of infinite power. As Deku's only equal is the Omni King. As if the two were to fight, they'd be fighting forever. So, yeah. However, well, let's get this What If started. As this is female Lucifer, or basically the devil. As you can see, she has a halo that's kind of thin and darkened. She has horns, half white hair, half black. Now, the reason why I chose a photo with a halo and horns is because Lucifer is, or the devil, is a fallen angel. Or a fallen archangel, as I want to capture both sides in one photo. Therefore, I found this. As pretty much loose. Here's how this story is gonna go. It's an average day in hell, and, well, the devil is absolutely bored. Bored with just torturing people and, basically ruling over everything. And like that. I'm ruling over hell like that. As pretty much she is bored and lonely. As she knows that she can never befriend anyone because, well, one, no one is strong enough to be her friend, and two, no one would live as long as her. As she is the incarnation of evil, yin, darkness, destruction. Pretty much fallen grace. As Lucifer is just contemplating everything, and then she gets an idea. What if she were to have a human form? Or go to the mortal realm, and have a kid. As right around this time, quirks have popped up, and pretty much it's canon time of My Hero Academia. As pretty much Naruto, pretty much Izuku's dad, and this what if will not be Hisashi Midoriya. Hold on. As this is Izuku's dad. I know who he is, but just tell me who you think he is in the comments. I'm not gonna tell you anything, but yeah. All I'm gonna tell you is he's a kid, and he is basically like a 20-year-old at this time, and he's destructive. Well, not his quirk based, it's more such used for stopping people in a certain way. But that's beside the point. Pretty much, Lucifer decides that, her whole halo and horns thing would basically be a bit sus, as she then takes the form of Inko. Hold on, where is it? I'm sorry, I have a lot of pictures for a great many of what ifs planned. So yeah, sorry boys and girls, I have a lot of pictures. Come on. Jesus, I do too many Naruto waves. It appears to me that I only have one picture of Inko, so sorry, boys. Actually, this suits her, as pretty much, yeah. She basically enters the earth in this form, wandering around looking for a strong males. Pretty much anyone strong enough to give birth and to basically help her have a child. As she is basically just scrolling through candidates, and she almost thinks of a human named Toshinori Yagi or a man named Hisashi Midoriya. As Hisashi's quirk if you did not know, in most of my what ifs, Hazashi will be all for one. Because I friggin' believe the theory. Do not judge me. But yeah, pretty much she almost chose Hazashi, as his quirk was pretty overpowered. But she realized that, he has many powers, but still not worthy. As then she saw Shota Azawa. Oh, damn, I gave away the name. Yes, this is younger Shoto Aizawa. Without his whole face thing. And without the whole chin stubble beard thing going on. This is younger Aizawa. Pretty much, she sees Aizawa, and she then decides right there, him. As pretty much she has a child with him. And she basically talks to him and gets to know him, and then, the whole thing goes. Now we're skipping then on 9 months, as Deku is born with demon horns, and with green horns, and a green tongue, he has 4 sharp teeth already, just 4 teeth already poking out, as his eyes are jade green, and he has claws. As pretty much Azawa then says, he must have a demonic mutation quirk. That's awesome. As Inko would then think, yes, very awesome. As she would just look at him and sense his very power level. As she would think, it appears this male was the right choice. After all, his power level is infinite. He might never have to train in his life. As she was excited about this, as she then realized one problem. Aizawa, he would want to keep the child with her, and with him, as she would want to take the child with her. As she was enraged as she basically, she didn't know this, she asked Aizawa, do you want to keep him? As Aizawa would then say, of course. She, of course, would be angry about this. Why? Well, her whole plan was to basically have a child and then bring him back to the underworld and raise him by herself. As she is enraged beyond compare. Oh, yes. Tell me if you guys want the ship to be I can't even speak now. Oh god. I'm sorry. As I said, the only equal for Deku in this what if is the Omni King. And then I just was thinking while speaking, and I'm going to post in the comments female Omni King for ship. If that comment gets over 10 likes, the ship will be female Omni King. Okay, boys? But I have no freaking clue how this what if will work. But back to the what if and how that ship would work. But it would be awesome to see. Let's back to the what if. pretty much, she then uses a demonic power of hers to erase Shoto Aizawa's memories one night, as Shoto Aizawa cannot remember even meeting Lucifer, as he then said, and as pretty much he forgets that he ever even had a child, and therefore the possibility of him having a child sounds like Chinese to him, sounds like American to him. No, it sounds like ancient Sumerian to him. I was gonna say Chinese or Japanese, but then I just realized that he's in Japan. So yeah, it would sound like not even a language to him. As pretty much he would fall over asleep, and she would then say, "Perfect." As she would then she basically turned into her true form, walk over and grab baby Izuku. As she then said, "It appears from being with this human, and from being from being the son of this human, he has a human form, or a half-human form, but then he also has a full form." As she would then basically swirl her hands around him where suddenly yellow and purple light would swirl around him. As she then say, "There we go, much better." As then Izuku would pretty much, baby Izuku would look like this. As she would then say, "Perfect. Now that's what I was expecting a being with infinite power to look like." As she would pretty much open and she'd pretty much take him to an alleyway and open a portal. As she would then say, and as he would open the portal and basically walk through it. As this portal would take her to the underworld, where, hold on, as she would be swarmed by many demons, basically asking her, where were you, my queen? We searched the entire underworld and nowhere to be found." As she would, oh god, hold on, my phone glitching. There we go. Okay. As a couple of demons would say, "We searched the entire underworld for you, but you were nowhere to be seen." Hold on, sorry. "But you were nowhere to be seen." As all sorts of demons would walk up to her, and these would be her demon generals. As this one is known as as Zalo, and as Zalon. This one, Tavos, Abak, Sorayan, and hold on, I forgot. So, hold on, boys. I finally came up with names. Okay, the 5 demon generals. As one of them would then say, "Hey, would then say what we're doing. As this one would be Rongor. Another Malok would say, Are you hurt? As another Zanok would then say, Hey, did anyone are you cut? Did anyone hurt you? Tyos would say, Hey, are you hungry? As then Ubalk would then say, Hey, do you need anything? As she would then say, My 5 generals, we are going to have a being that can rival the power of the Omni King. Or Queen. Yes. Still, if you guys want female Omni King to be the ship, I will make the Omni King Omni Queen. Okay, boys? But back to the wikis. As she then said, pretty much, I had a child with a human. However, his power level is infinite. Thus, meaning he can he basically matches God. As the 5 generals would then say, What? And Rongor would say, What? Malak would say, How? Zanok would say, Who? Tyos would say, When? And Ubalk would say, What? As they'd all be confused, like all hell. As she'd then say, Hey, meet my son. As she would then show a baby version of, basically this is a baby. As they'd say, Holy. So, what are you naming him? As she would say, I've decided to name him Izuku. As you will call him Lord Izuku. As the demon generals, all 5 would say, Yes, my queen. As pretty much Deku would grow up relatively nice. As pretty much his mother's generals would be teaching him all about the underworld, all about the realms, gods, powers, angels, demons, all that. As she wanted her son to be extremely well taught. As pretty much, Zuko would be well taught. As one day, Izuku walks into his mother's throne room. As he then says, Yes, mother. As she would then say, Izuku, honey, there is something I need to tell you. As he then said, Yes. As she then said, You're going to a place called You're going to a mortal realm. And you're going to a different realm than hell. As he then say, Wait, what? As she would then say, Yes, you're going to a mortal realm called and this mortal realm is called Earth, or Earth 14, as My Hero Academia is the 14th universe. As he then said, Okay, Mom. So, why am I going there? And she then said, because, how can I explain this? Your father is in that realm. As I know that that I alone can't raise you, and you will have to meet your father. However, there's one problem. I kind of erased his memories of you, so you will have to be you'll have to get close to him any way possible. As he then said, okay, what's my father's occupation? As she would then say, your father is a hero and a teacher. He has a special ability which allows him to cancel out mortal abilities. As, well, Izuku would then say, awesome. So, should I just, hop over there? As she then said, wait, mortal form. Unless you're using over 10% of your power. As he then said, fine, Mom. As Izuku would then transform into his mortal form. As he then said, there. As she would then say, perfect. Now go to the mortal realm. And meet your father. Now go to the mortal realm and try to meet your father. As pretty much a portal would open as Izuku would walk through it. As Izuku, when he walks through the portal, he would fall flat in the middle, and he'd basically be in an alleyway. Well, not an alleyway, he'd be in a forest. As he would then say, so this is Earth. It's a lot different than hell, but I guess it'll do. As Izuku would enter, and would pretty much enter. And would pretty much just be walking around the forest. As he could then hear a hero, and as he basically heard a voice. It was a grown man's. As in a grown man would walk out of nowhere, as he would basically be here camping. As it is before UA starts, and he just wanted, a little breather before he had to enter all the chaos. As pretty much he would see Izuku and say, huh? Kid, are you alright? Where are your parents? As Izuku would not know, he would know the name of his dad, but he would not know, Izuku would pretty much know his father's name, but he would not know him personally. As he would say, I don't know. Weird. I'll read that after. Sorry. As pretty much Izuku would walk over to Azawa. As Azawa would then say, what's your name, kid? As Izuku would then say, my name is Izuku Midoriya. As yes, I'ma say that God actually has the last name Midoriya. Well, no, Izuku would say my name is Izuku Morningstar. As he'd then say, Morningstar, huh? That's a nice name. As Izuku would, and as pretty much as Awa would then say, alright kid, you're coming with me, I guess. As he would go to his campsite, and he'd say, so, what's your quirk? As Izuku would have been told all about quirks, as he then said, oh, mine? It's nothing special, really. It's just a demon. It's a, I guess you could say, villainous quirk. As he then said, behold. As Izuku's horns would then begin to be, basically his horns would be surrounded with a jade green fire. As his claws would grow, and his fingernails would grow into claws, as his eyes would then sparkle with a jadish green lightning. As then Izuku would pretty much say, hey, he would pretty much say, hey, he would pretty much say divine hit and divine slash, as he would pretty much karate chop his hand down, and then about 100 trees in front of Izuku would just fall. As he then said, that's only one of my moves. As Azawa would be absolutely surprised. As he then said, holy hell. How about I bring you with me to a place I work at, called UA? As Izuku would know Izuku would pretty much know where his father worked, as he would then think, UA, yes, I can get closer to my dad there, and I can meet my dad there. As pretty much Izuku would then and walk over to him and say, fine. So, how are we getting there? As Izuku would then say, I foot. As the two would then walk over to pretty much UA, as he then say, behold, UA High School. The #1 hero school in the world, and in Japan and probably the world. As he would then open, and as he would pretty much lead him to Nezu's office, as he would say, Principal Nezu, I found a kid with a interesting quirk. He doesn't know the name, but I think I'm going to name it Jade Demon, if it doesn't have a name. As he'd then say, why Jade Demon? As then he'd say, Izuku, please come in. As Izuku would walk in, as Nezu would then say, you have green horns and claws and green eyes. As then Nezuko would say, hi. As then Nezu would say, and a green tongue? As he'd then say, yep. I have a demon-related quirk. Izuku would say, obviously lying through his teeth. He would then say, but yeah. As all of us here said that I could come here, as then Nezu would say, well, first, what powers does your quirk have? As then he would say, "Oh, what powers? Well, that's pretty simple." As Izuku would then karate chop downward, and he would pretty much, well, not karate chop because that would break the. Well, he would pretty much be outside in a training area. He would then karate chop downward. Everything would pretty much. He would then create a giant crack in everything, just taking away a giant chunk of everything. As then he'd say, I also have energy-based attacks. That was only a physical attacks, air pressure. As Izuku would then pretty much hold his hand out, as Izuku would say, this is my weakest attack. As he would then create a green orb out of jade, a lightning in his hand, as he would basically then open his palm and just shove it forward, as he would send it towards a giant empty space, as then a ginormous jade electrical explosion would happen. As he then said, I can also create weapons out of jade energy and out of green energy. As Izuku has infinite attacks, I forgot to mention, he has infinite abilities. Right now, he's only using his jade energy related abilities to seem at least like a semi-human. Because, I mean, seriously, imagine you're Principal Nezu and you see a kid literally able to manipulate planets just by moving his hands, you'd be terrified. And just by blinking, you would absolutely think this kid's not human. You'd think he's the devil or God. But based on the horns, you'd think he's the devil. So yeah. That's pretty much Izuku would. Izuku would then basically create a jade keyblade, and he would then just do a one sideways slice, and slice through everything in front of him. As he then say, I can also do this. As Izuku would then begin flying, yeah, he's pretty powerful. As then, as you said, he's in. On recommendation, yeah, he is 1,000,000,000% in. As Izuku would then say, yes, in his head. As pretty much, we skip to the first day of school. As Izuku would be basically being class 1A, obviously. Hold on. As Izuku, basically, he would be there on his first day, as he would see Azawa in his true form, in his greatest form, in his natural habitat. Basically, on the floor in a yellow sleeping bag is Azawa's true habitat, and the yellow sleeping bag is his true form. As pretty much, he would then say, alright everyone, as pretty much Izuku would walk in. Now, one thing I forgot to mention, Bakugo is the subject of Bakugo. Without Izuku pretty much being there to test his power on and bully, giving him that extra sense of confidence, Bakugo would be a bit weaker, as pretty much Izuku would then say, "Behold," and would just say, walk in as Bakugo, and as he would introduce himself to everyone, and Bakugo would say whatever extra. As then Izuku would say, "I'm sorry, excuse me?" As he'd snap his fingers and Bakugo's mouth would be gone. As I said, Izuku has infinite powers, so this is just a piece of cake for him. As pretty much he would walk, and pretty much he would then say, "Now, everyone shush, the teacher is right behind us." As Izuku, and as pretty much everyone would then shush up, as Aizawa would rise from his yellow caterpillar sleeping bag, as he'd then say, "Thank you, problem child. And thank you, Izuku. Mine, it took y'all 2 seconds to quiet down. We're gonna need to work on that," he would say. As then Izuku would enter. It's pretty much, he would say, hold on. As Izuku, pretty much he would sit down, as Aizawa would then say, "My name is Shoto Aizawa." As Izuku would then say, "What?" I basically think, "What? He's my dad?" As he then say, "Hey, alright, put these outfits on," as he'd show them their outfits, as he'd then say, "And go outside, we are going to do a quirk assessment test." As pretty much they would all go into the locker rooms, as then Mineta would see the whole peak hole, as he'd then say, the students before us have blessed us. Look." Hold on. Izuku would then see Mineta flying at the females, as he'd then say, "Oh, hell no." As Izuku would pretty much charge up a Keyblade, as he would then pretty much put it right in front of the eye hole, as he'd then say, "You dare look through there, you dare look through that hole, this will slice you into atoms. Do you understand?" As Mineta, trying to play it cool, would say, "You don't scare me." As Izuku would then say, "I don't, do I?" As he would then snap his fingers, time would stop for everyone in existence except for him and Mineta. I'm in the world except for him and Mineta. As he then say, "I don't scare you, do I?" As pretty much he would pretty much begin spinning around, as then his skin would peel off, his horns would sink down, as then red cracks of lightning and energy would just pour all over him, as his hair would become white, his skin would become white, and basically 2 black holes would appear on his chest. As the whole halo would appear around him, as he'd then say, "You dare. You say I don't scare you, huh?" As then lightning would begin to crackle around them, as Izuku would basically then, time is still stopped, as he would teleport them to a pocket dimension, which right now is a black void. As then he would create some floor, as then Mineta and him would be inside a black void, standing on stones that were just coming up out of nowhere. As Izuku would then say, "Oh, I'm about to torture you like no one's ever been tortured. For one, you don't peep on girls, and for two, you don't say that I don't scare you." As for Mineta, basically he would have been tortured for billions upon billions upon billions upon billions of years. As for everyone else, Izuku would have just talked to him and nothing would have happened. As then when he was done torturing Mineta and basically shattering his entire mind, Izuku would... Sorry about that. Izuku would walk into his, and he'd basically be in the locker room, as he'd then say, "Okay, Mineta, so please do not peep on girls." As Mineta would he would look like he hasn't slept in about 1 billion years. As he would then, basically, he would then speak something unintelligible, as it would sound like gibberish. As then he'd say, basically he'd be in this form, as he'd say, "You okay, Mineta?" As everyone would be asking him, like, "Dude, you okay?" As Mineta would then be expelled, not because he was bad or anything, but because he can't speak and he can't talk. And he can't speak and he can't think correctly. And he can't think or speak at all. As they would then say, "Poor guy." As Izuku would then say, that's what the bastard gets." And he'd basically be thinking this, but he'd say, "Poor guy. It's a real shame." As they would all walk out to the, pretty much, they all walk out to, the entrance exam, as they would, the, court administration test, as Izuku would pass everything with flying colors. The weight, he would break. The, strength test, he'd break it. The jumping test, the racing test, he'd win. The jump, he'd win. As we go to the ball throw, everyone would have gotten very high percentages, as Bakugo would be in the lead. As Izuku would then say, "Yawn," and would basically yawn, as he'd then say, "I'm not using my quirk at all. In fact, Aizawa, could you please?" As Aizawa would then use his power on Izuku, as Izuku would then pretty much throw the ball. As with only pure strength, no power. And the ball would literally be going so fast. It would break through interdimensional records, and it would split through dimensions. As we go to Izuku, and we go to pretty much the Dragon Ball, Universe 7. As yes, it had broken through 7 universes. As I said, pretty much My Hero Academia universe is the 14th. As the ball would pop, basically at the speed of, and at godly unintelligible speeds, it would hit Vegeta right in the face. As Goku would then say, "Wow, Vegeta, looks like some kid threw a ball at you, and it looks like someone's ball got thrown here." As we go back to Universe 14 with Izuku, as then Ozawa would say, "Infinite." As Ozawa's thing would then say, "Hey, into another universe." As he then say, "You threw that thing so hard it went into another universe." As he would then say, "Hey, what? Oh my. That's a bit sad. I used too weak amount of my strength." As he'd then say, "Can I use my quirk now? And can I use my work now?" As then he would say, "Fine, go ahead." As Izuku would then power up. As for a small amount of time, he would flip into this form, well, halfway. As an outline of this would be around him, pretty much, as he would then throw the ball. As this time, the ball would basically be going through all the way to where the Omni King was, and Omni King's palace. As Omni King or Queen or whatever you guys want would basically be just chilling, as then they would sense a ball coming from Universe 14 all the way there. As Zeno would then he'd basically be talking to Daishinkan and the Grand Priest, as he would then put his arm out, and they would basically be waiting 30 seconds, as about 15 seconds after Zeno put his arm out, he would then say, and Daishinkan would say, "Lord Zeno, why do you have your arm out?" And then he'd say, wait for it. As then 15 seconds later, a ball would fly out of nowhere. As he then said, "This ball came from Universe 14. As someone threw it." As he'd then say, "Holy, how is that even possible?" As he'd then say, and as the Omni King or Queen, whatever you guys want, would then say, "Hey, someone has power equal to mine, but they're not related to me in any way, shape, or form. It appears I might have a equal in existence." As he would then smile and say, "Perfect, I would love to meet him, and I'd love to meet them." As Izuku, we go back to Izuku, as Azawa would then say, I can't even calculate this, as it doesn't say infinite, but it shows one with about like a billion, trillion, octillion, fillion, badillion zeros. Yes, I just made up a random number, and I said that basically that is over a billion, trillion. It's a lot of zeros. Basically, imagine your room, no matter how size. Basically, imagine your bed, no matter what size it is, and then imagine every single atom on your bed as a zero. That's how far. Now put a 1. Well, now put a 9 right in front of all those zeros. That's how many miles Izuku threw that ball. And that's how many meters Izuku threw that ball. As pretty much, yeah. he threw it hard. As Izuku would just smile. As he then said that wasn't even my full power. As Sanazawa would say, how? As pretty much they would then basically, let's skip to the end of the day. To the end of the day, as Izuku would then say, alright guys, I gotta go home. As he would, I'll see y'all tomorrow, as he would then pretty much walk over to an alleyway and open a portal. Now, he would be watched, or basically his universe would be watched, as Daishinkan would have asked Whis to watch Universe 14, as he would then tell Whis a being with power equal to that of the Omni King is in that universe. As he then say, oh my, my lord. As pretty much Whis would be watching watching Izuku's universe from the shadows, or just basically he'd be watching the planet invisibly. As he'd then see Izuku, as he said, he must have some sort of teleportation ability. As he would then see when Izuku went through the portal, he was no longer in Universe 14. As he then say, huh? As he then say, it appears he's in hell. But how and why? Does he have the ability to go to hell? As he would pretty much be watching from hell, as he'd say, I best make sure no demons watch me or see me. As he would then see Lucifer, as she'd then say, there you are, Izuku. So, how was your first, how was your first almost full year on Earth 14? As he then say, it's really nice, and I found my dad. My dad, as he would be and as she'd say, Izuku, remember, you're home, so please be in your true form. As Izuku would then say, yes, Mom. As he would then transform into this form, as Whis would still be watching from the shadows, as he'd say, oh my. It appears that Lucifer is actually not dead. She's in the underworld. She's in hell. And she has a son. So does that make me, in a way, an uncle? As he'd then be confused about it. As I told you guys, Lucifer is a fallen angel. So yeah, she's a fallen angel. Therefore, she is like a exiled sibling of Whis. As Whis would basically say, and her son has the power equal to the Omni King. My, oh my. As my. As he would then open he'd basically go back to where the Grand Priest was to basically tell him everything. As he'd then say, my lord, Grand Priest, there is something you need to know. Sister Lucifer is alive, and she has a son. As that her son somehow has power equal to the Omni King. As he then say, what? How? I thought it was strictly forbidden for her to have a child. I thought it was strictly forbidden for her to have a kid. As pretty much Whis would then say, I know, but I thought, and Daishinkan would say, I thought she was dead. As he then say, I know, I thought so too, but apparently she isn't, and her son has the power equal to the Omni King. But it appears she isn't trying to have him attack us. As he then said, good. So we will soon have to meet with this, I guess you could say, grandson of mine. Said the Grand Priest. As then Whis would say, yes, Grand Priest. I will have to meet with this nephew of mine. As pretty much he would be excited. As Daishinkan would then, and the Grand Priest would walk over to, and would basically go to the Omni King or Queen, whatever you guys want. Basically, the Omni Person, that's what I'm going to call them until you guys give me an actual name. He'd walk over to the Omni Person and say, he'd say, my lord, it appears that the being with power equal to you is my grandson. As the Omni King would then, the Omni Person would then say, which child of yours? As he'd then say, which angel? As he'd then say, Lucifer. As the Omni Person would then say, how? I thought she was dead. As he'd then say, I thought so too. As she would then, as pretty much the Omni Person would then say, very well. Within a time span of a couple of months, we are going to see her. And we're going to see this equal of mine. As he would then, and see if they're, basically, see if they can live here with me, as hell is not a place fit of such a powerful being. As then the Grand Priest would say, you're right, my liege. As then, and the Omni Person would then say, hey, and would basically think, so I have an equal. Perfect. Who knows what this equal may bring in the future? But all I know right now is that hell is not a place worthy. But we'll wait a couple of months, and we'll wait some time for things to happen. As the Omni Person would then smile, I'll intentfully, with an unknown intent, I said you guys will choose, and basically that is where this this part ends. Hope y'all enjoyed. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe, and tell me, ships. Do you want the ship to be female Omni King? Or do you not want the ship to be female Omni King? Do you want the ship to be an OC? Or a MHA character? Please tell me. Tell me in the comments, and yeah, goodbye.